Okay, now the rules for the extended price fib, or EPF. The rules say if you have a fib where the distance between pivots is 6 points or more, price retraces a bit, but doesn't get close to the 50% line, and then breaks the 0% line, breaks the negative 23.6% line, and gets to the negative 50% line without ever retracing back to the 0% line, then you draw an extended price fib. Okay, so let's take a look at what that means. Let's say we were analyzing what happened pre-market on May 11th. Draw our first fib from low to high. As you can see, the 76.4% level gets broken at 1353.75. Okay, so I draw a new fib in the opposite direction. Price goes past the 0% level, then retraces to the 23.6% level. So I move my 0% line to this low, and then price goes past the 0% level again to the negative 23.6% line, traces back to the 0% line. So I move my 0% line to the new low. Okay, price then retraces, moves up to here. Now let's check if this would be 75% the distance between these two. Okay, the distance between here and here is 7 ticks. 0.75 times 0.75. If we add that to 1353.50, we get 1354.81. Round that to the nearest tick, be 1355. That will represent a 75% move of the distance between those two. So 1355 is here, so our entry would have been never quite got to there, so did not retrace or get close to the 50% level, and then it broke through the 0% level, got to negative 23.6%, didn't retrace back to 0%, and then it broke through negative 23.6% and moved down to the negative 50% level, and even broke past that level, or went past that level. Okay, this would mean that price has overextended. Okay, it has moved too far, too quick, and the current down move, it just, as you can see right here, it fell precipitously, so to speak. Okay, so when this happens, the rules state if you are in an up move, you originally had a pivot low 100% line and a pivot high 0% line, which was blown through. So you would go back to your chart and look for the pivot high made prior to the pivot low where you have your 100% line. By pivot high, I mean a high that has at least 3 to 5 candles with lower highs to the left, and 3 to 5 candles or bars with lower highs to the right. The pivot high would now be your 100% line, and the new pivot high made past the original 50% line would become, past the original negative 50% line would become the extended price fib 0% line. So instead of drawing from low to a high, you would draw from a previous high to a high. Now this is not the case because we're drawing the fibs from high to low, so we're in a down move. The rules say you originally had a pivot low 0% line and a pivot high 100% line, which was blown through. Okay, so the 0% line was blown through the pivot low. So you would go back to your chart and look for a pivot low made prior to the pivot high where you have your 100% line. So we would be looking for a pivot low prior to this pivot high where we have our 100% line. By that we mean a low that has at least 3 to 5 candles or bars with higher lows to the left and 3 to 5 candles with higher lows to the right. Okay, so right here we have 3 candles to the left and 3 candles to the right with higher lows. Okay, here we have a low that has 5 candles to the left, 5 candles to the right. In this case, since they are so close to each other, you can choose whichever you want. Okay, so let's go with this one, the 3 candles. Okay, it says that pivot low would now be your 100% line, and the new, okay, so let's start drawing the fib right here. Okay, this is my 100% line, and the new pivot low made past the original negative 50% line would become the extended price fib's 0% line. Okay, so the pivot low that was made past the negative 50% line of the original fib, which is right here, the low that was made right here, okay, will become my new 0% line. Okay, so my new pivot low. So instead of drawing from a high to a low, from high to low, you will draw from a previous low to a low. Okay, so now let me erase the original fib, and this is what an extended price fib looks like. Draw from low to low. From the low that is previous to the high where you had originally drawn your fib, which would be here, and the new low would be where price went through or went to the negative 50% line, which is here. Okay, and again you have to check to see if it meets the criteria for rule number 1. So the distance between these two is 6 points. Okay, so it does. Then you can place your entry here and your target, your stop. Okay, so that is how you draw an extended price fib. In this case, since we're in a down move, we draw from low to low. If we were in an up move, we would draw from high to high, because price has extended but in an upward direction. Okay, so let's say price right here continued to move up. We would draw, when we're drawing from this low, we would move to the previous high, previous pivot high. You can use this or this. This looks more like a pivot to me, so I will draw from here to the new high.